All right, everyone, we're going to get started. So I'm going to give a kind of brief overview of what we're actually talking about, and then we're going to talk about some of the current funding opportunities that are in this innovation challenge space that I'm so excited about. I want to go over a few quick strategies that we've seen that make successful submissions and successful winners. And then, so you don't have to listen to me, we're going to have Adam and we're going to have Fred talk because they've actually won. They've actually won several times. So that's always the best thing, is to hear from people that have experience versus me, who I'm just a product development guy. I'm a startup coach. So I haven't won any, but I have worked with a few teams that have been pretty successful with this. So I mean, here's the deal. So the bottom line is that innovation gives engineers and entrepreneurs the opportunity to change the world, change their life, create a fulfilling business, something that they can really believe in and be proud of. But transforming an idea into reality requires significant capital, and many people don't have that. They don't have a spare $100,000 sitting around to invest in product development or marketing. So these innovation challenges provide a new path, so you're not just stuck with this great idea but no ability to get it to market, because everyone thinks that they have the $1 million idea, right? Or in today's money, the $1 billion idea, right? But then when I talk to them, there's a lot of ifs. If you had the skills, if you had the mentors, if you had the funding, if you had the connections, or whatever, if you would be successful, right? The ifs are these imagined obstacles. They're really excuses for inaction, because there are paths that exist. And if you take action, you'll start finding them, and it's like the whole world conspires for your success. So when your idea solves a real problem, there is always a customer out there in the world that wants that problem solved so badly at that core mission level, that existential crisis level, that they're willing to pay for the development just so it exists, not for equity, but not for any other reason, that they need it so badly and they believe in it so much. So with the right problem, your if becomes a when. So I'm always looking for these when opportunities, and then I connect people that have really great skills or passion or desire with those opportunities, and that's how we end up winning these challenges. That's the reason that I love these innovation challenges, is that they fill in those gaps. They cancel all the excuses that you have for starting, and innovation challenges like the ones that I'm about to present, they provide the funding. Everybody thinks, like, if I just had money, I would be successful. And that's kind of like saying, if I was successful, I'd be successful. But it also connects you to mentors, manufacturers, industry leaders, and more pieces that end up fueling your success. It sounds absurd, but that's one of the reasons why I'm going to ask Fred and Adam to talk about their experience, because not only is it true, but it has been true for people that are just friends of mine, right? People that I know in real life, and it's also been true for the other clients that I've worked with across the country. So what is actually out there? That's the thing. Is your idea something that could be funded? And I like to flip this on its head, is I really like to go browse these challenges and get my creative mind going, and then think, how can I adapt my skills, my experience, my uniqueness into solving these challenges, so I have the best crack at starting something significant. But in reality, I've seen these challenges across so many industries and so many problem areas that I've yet to fail connecting a client or a potential participant with an innovation challenge, right? So, in an easy way of saying this is, pretty much whatever you're into, there's probably a big corporation, a university, a grant program, there's somebody out there that's saying, I want this solved 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, $1 million worth. And a lot of the corporate challenges, they live on the company pages. I find searching for like Lockheed Martin Company Innovation Challenge, Northrop Grumman Innovation Challenge, Marriott Innovation Challenge, they always pop up. But there's platforms out there that aggregate these and host them, so it's very convenient. Of course, for government-related things, challenge.gov aggregates that across the entire US government. So it's a good place to start. And I would also advise you that if you see something on challenge.gov, most likely it's at a certain level of need. There's probably also corporate challenges and grant programs associated with it. There's probably also universities that are putting out intellectual property that need to be commercialized around those problems. That's like tips for later. That's like, we're getting in the weeds, right? But my favorite kind of broad market platform for this is HeroX, so herox.com. And you'll see these across all kinds of different areas. So health, food, so that goes into agriculture, environment, education, space, defense. And just as an aside, next week we're going to go deep into talking about innovation challenges in defense, and that's kind of like my area. That's my expertise, and that's kind of a different. It's a different set of rules of what that success looks like, but there is a lot of opportunity there as well. And finally, in clean tech, so clean tech being like solar, geothermal, water, different conservation requirements, very big on there, especially, and this is what I want to focus on tonight, is the American-made challenges. So specifically, that the round 4 of the Solar Prize Challenge just opened, and that's at herox.com/solar prize round 4. But it's pretty easy to search for it if you don't want to remember that URL. Actually, let me paste it right here in the chat. And if you are watching on YouTube, I'll have to put it in the show notes. Okay, so, oh, Jade, bless you. So this is what's wild. This is the difficult to believe part, and this is where this really runs off the rails for people, because I think there's something in us, especially with smart people, especially people that have great ideas, is they think like, this can't be for me, or I'm not good enough for this, or this must be too complicated. Like, it seems like the smarter and the more with it you are, the more creative your ability to make the mental gymnastics that you shouldn't do it, or you can't do it, is. And this is the difficult to believe part, is that submitting, and mind you that the chance of winning the first stage of Solar Prize is 50K. It goes 50K, 100K, then 500K. That the first stage of submission, you have to identify a problem that you want to solve. And I really should hope so, because it's called an innovation challenge. If you're not solving a challenge, I don't know how you're creating innovation, right? So the other thing is you have to submit a 90-second video describing your challenge. And I tell people that video, if you're amazing designer and you're talented, like Adam's video is fantastic, but if I had to do that and I had to do it the weekend before, it would just be like this. I would probably make some slides and narrate over it. And there's people that have won significant money that their 90-second video is no more complicated than them presenting their idea. You have to answer a short 4-question narrative and make a slide. So make a pitch deck. And I've coached well over 100 people on how to make pitch decks. And if you really are hung up on this, you're more than welcome to comment if you're on YouTube, or message me on Facebook or LinkedIn, and we can go over that part. And that will actually help you win when we go over the strategies of what makes you win. So the last part is to submit a 2-page technical request. It's really 2 pages maximum. They say that because academic people love verbose language. I'm more of a direct person. And when they say technical assistance request, they just mean ask for help. What do you need? Like, what do you need that Department of Energy, NREL, and a huge network of engineers, manufacturers, and like mentors, coaches could provide? Like, what are the things that you would need? So ask for help, make a pitch deck, make a video, and boom, you're in there for a chance to win 50K. And that's pretty awesome. I think this is the closest that you can get to getting paid for an idea that exists in the world. And also these aren't unique. We'll go over this a little later, but once you enter this challenge, there's similar challenges, and you can enter the same idea for multiple of these challenges and end up winning more and more money. But actually, I'd really like to hear from our past participants first, and then I want to circle back and then talk about some of the strategies for successful submissions after that. So Fred, can you give me a little bit of your time and just tell me about your experience with using innovation challenges, a little about Solar Prize, and some of the other challenges that you've been crushing it. So
yeah, so I was one of the winners in round 2 of the Solar Prize, and then went on to win the Chrysalix, also on HeroX, the Chrysalix tank inspection challenge, and then the NIST first responder drone challenge. So I won 3. Getting involved, I actually was pretty reluctant to get involved at first because I felt like it was, sort of like a traditional grant program, and that it was going to take, 100+ hours to put together a proposal, and that there would be 10,000 people applying, and that my odds of winning are, just extraordinarily low. And, it turns out that the barrier to entry, as you were just mentioning before, it's extremely low. Like by going with this prize format instead of a grant format, they've really stripped away a lot of the barriers. And, if you put in a solid weekend worth of work, you can crank out a 90-second video, answer their 4 questions, and put together a 1-page slide. It was really pretty straightforward. And looking at most of the other competitors, most of them did their 90-second video exactly what you were talking about. It was just they grabbed their cell phone or a GoPro, and they're just voicing over an idea, and that's it. And again, it's not a $2,000 prize. A lot of these are $50,000. This is pretty serious money to get you going, and they're not giving out one prize. That $50,000 round is 20 winners. So when you start looking at how many people tend to apply versus how many prizes they're giving out and how little work you have to do, it really sold me on that. And it took a little convincing. But yeah, it really was, easier than I thought. And I said, man, $50,000, is it really this easy? And that was what prompted me to do the other challenges. And
yeah,
I think in the last 12 months, pulled in like over 300,000 just in the initial prize money. So
yeah. And then you're going for the NIST, which is what? That's
yeah, some of these I'm still are ongoing, and so there's additional rounds like the NIST. There's another easy $100,000 up for grabs on
yeah.
that challenge.
What I think is interesting about your story as well. I mean, we know each other outside of kind of the startup universe, but you were actually a participant in an incubator a long time ago that I was one of the mentors with. And like that approach to business development, it kind of like leaves you with those chasms, that gap, because you're like, hey, I don't have money at the end. Now I have a business model canvas, but like, how am I going to build my business? And like this kind of puts like more pieces into the bucket. I feel like it's a lot more tools to make people successful versus like just telling them go get the information. You can just go watch a YouTube video on lean startup if you want and read a couple books. You don't.
Yeah. And one of the things I really like about these challenges is most of these challenges, particularly the American-made challenges, like the Solar Prize, they're a phased approach, right? So
Yeah.
that you get $50,000 and you have to do a little bit of development work, but part of your deliverables is to actually build a network. You have to build partnerships in order to continue on to the subsequent rounds, and that's where a lot of these innovation challenges they fall short. They'll just give you some money, you're developing the widget, but you're not building the relationships and the business side of it along the way.
Yeah.
And $50,000 sounds like a lot of money, and it is, right? But
Yeah.
that only goes so far when you're talking product development, and if you're looking to actually commercialize this and turn it into a business, you have to be doing those steps along the way, and a lot of
Yeah.
them don't force you to do that.
I have to give DOE and NREL a lot of credit for that, and so the American Made Network, or the connector network, keeps getting better and better as well. But inside it is a lot of other accelerators and incubators and people like Red Blue Collective, manufacturers and mentors and coaches. So like by forcing people to do that, they're almost baking in what I make people do when we do business development is you grow quickly with partnerships, not with capital, right? And yeah, I definitely see that. But I mean, congrats on all your wins. I think we're going to have really good news coming from you in a couple weeks, but that's what I'm crossing my fingers for. But
Yeah, I've put in for some additional. There's some that are pending, and then some of the existing opportunities. The exposure that you get from winning these, not just the 50,000 or whatever it was in the challenge you did, but the
yeah,
exposure is really beneficial too. It's sort of validation, saying, "Hey, DOE, NREL, they think there's some promise here," and then
yeah,
you can turn that around and leverage it for some additional partnerships and funding and that type of thing. So, I've definitely benefited from that as well.
cool. Hey, Adam, can I get you to hop on for a second?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So Adam's kind of same thing. I'd love for you to just tell everybody a little bit about your story and how this is kicked off your business. Oh, tell everybody about your submission too. I'll
Yeah,
try to find it and link it.
sure. If you want to turn on my camera, I've got it behind me.
Ooh, that's even better. Here we go. Let's see. Can I do that? I don't know that I can.
Oh, and zoom. All right. Well, it's a visual product. I'm redesigning the functional metallic contacts on on the solar panel to create decorative decorative architectural surfaces. Because most people think solar panels are pretty ugly.
Here, Adam.
Oh,
I, you should be able to
here.
do it now. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, here. Let's see.
You'd think that I would be like a Zoom master now. I do like 4 of these a day at this point, but I'm not as familiar with the webinar interface.
Oh, it says I can't start. I did get a new video button, but it says I can't start it.
I'm going to make you the host. Let's see. There we go. Now, try it.
All right, let's try now. It says you still stopped it.
If that doesn't work.
Oh well.
Okay. Yep. Sorry about that.
No problem. All right, so I redesigned the functional electrical contact of a solar cell to create a decorative architectural material that's also a high efficiency solar energy generator. Um, and most of the industry people who saw this the first round were very skeptical that it would work. They've spent a lot of time mathematically perfecting that little rectangular grid that you usually see. Um, but they but Kali kind of over the course of a whole year said, "Hey, you should enter. Hey, you should enter. Hey, it's free money." I was like, "Okay, well, there's no such thing as free money," but he convinced me, and I spent a week working on my my submission, and he gave me some help on my materials, and ended up winning $50,000 from the Department of Energy to make a working prototype instead of the plastic and paint movie prop that I had at the beginning, and went to the University of North Carolina at Charlotte to use their manufacturing facility, and came out with a couple of really nice looking decorative solar cells that we're able to test and validate as functional and beautiful, and that got us into the second stage of the prize, where we got another $100,000 to continue developing our prototypes. And now we've got 10,000 decorative solar cells coming from a factory in Taiwan, and going to be sending boxes of them to solar panel manufacturers in California and France. And we're going to have a bunch of full scale, beautiful prototypes here by Christmas. Um, and a lot of people all over the planet really excited to see this as it comes to fruition. So
It's crazy. And you got a great mentor out of this as well, right?
oh, absolutely. So that was like one of the best things. If they'd given me $50,000 and that's all, uh, I would have, I felt a lot of responsibility for getting that money to do what I said I was going to do with it. But eventually, I would have just given up and gone on vacation with it or something, paid down my mortgage, because I wouldn't have been able to do anything except for they gave me contacts and introduced me to all sorts of people in academia and industry to help me accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And they introduced me to a guy named Dr. Bin Damiani. He was actually the winner of the Solar Prize in the previous rendition, and he's an expert solar cell designer and manufacturing expert. So they introduced us, and he was like, "Oh, this is a really cool idea. I've never seen anything like this before. Let me show you exactly how to do it."
Yep.
And he sent all the emails. He said, "Oh, here's my solar cell factory in Taiwan. Let me help you order. Let me help you get an order. Here's all my friends and all these different solar panel manufacturers that they'd love to see it. Let me set up a phone call." And took me a freelance visual designer and just inserted me directly into the worldwide solar production chain. So
I was at demo day last week, and Ben and I were kind of geeking out about this because he's also just really into entrepreneurship and he's a really nice guy in general. But it was that people look at these huge world problems and they think, well, that must take some super scientist. It must take, like, I call them demigods, right? People are like, oh, that's an Elon Musk problem. And by you having a good idea and then connecting you with people that can execute it, like, you become that, right? So you just had an amazing idea, is that solar panels are ugly and a lot of people don't want to use them because that they should why shouldn't they be beautiful? And you're solving a great problem in the market, but you didn't have to become like the world's leading manufacturer of solar panels. Like, that person exists, and because of the network they can connect you with somebody that can, like, that would take you, it would take me years to really develop that level of manufacturing and capabilities and understanding, and you can just do it. It's like slingshotting you into the future for your business.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, before they introduced me to Ben, I spent about a month and a half trying to do it myself, sending basically emails into the ether and never getting a response, because
Yeah.
those companies don't check those emails that often. They're busy, and they
Well,
see a lot of crackpot ideas, I'm sure. So
yeah, and like all manufacturers, they make money at a certain dollar volume. So anything below that looks risky, like it's not going to turn into a high six, low seven, starting figure order. It's kind of like, why do I want to get involved in this startup thing? This is going to be It's going to disrupt everything I'm going to do, and it might not pan out. Whereas if you have the right resource, your idea is great. So they just get really pumped up about it and then want to do it. And I don't know. I just, we're, I was telling him, like, you're a really talented designer, and like we've worked together on the small sculptures and things as well. So like I know you're really diligent, but like that aside, there's and I put myself in the same boat. There's just way smarter scientific people out there in the world. So people look at these challenges on these platforms, they think like, well, I have to have a doctorate in geothermal like engineering to apply to this. I'm like, not really. The people with a doctorate in solar, they work at NREL, and they want to connect you with other people. Like they don't know how to come up with ideas and bring them to industry, so much that's why they created this program, is to get people pumped, and so they can test more things and get more involved in innovation. So it's like have it backwards, but I don't know. I just it just is like, if you have a good idea and you're willing to move forward, like you can win. Like you don't, I don't know a better way of putting that, but it's you have zero chance if you don't apply.
Well, this is Fred again. I
Yeah.
think in a lot of cases, people think they have to solve the entire problem, and some of these challenges are very intentionally extremely broad, and the scope is huge, right? So you
Yeah.
think you have to solve the whole thing, and usually many of the winners aren't solving the whole thing. They've gone into solar and they're like, hey, I'm going to solve this one little power junction component, or how they're mounted to a roof, or
Yep.
something like that. So it's just usually one very small piece of the puzzle that you really have to solve.
Yeah. And they just do it really well. So
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. And most great ideas, all great businesses start like that. So like, why shouldn't a startup, also have that hyper focus, find that foothold, and then grow from there? So I mean, it makes sense, but um, that kind of leads me into this next point, and I think we touched on a lot of these topics, but uh, after now, this is the fourth round. So after helping people through 3 rounds of this and some of the other challenges, I have a pretty good feeling for what helps people win, not just this initial submission, but win through the contest. And I just wanted to share some of those tips, and then we can hopefully get to Q&A. If you have questions, put them in the chat, and then I'll answer those questions, or I'll unmute you because we're on webinar, and we can just chit chat. But before we get to that, yes, so strategies for a successful submission. How about unmute? Yeah, we can do that. So when you apply, and just understand the mission of what you're applying for is that NREL and Department of Energy, they want to increase the use of solar manufacturing when we're talking about this Solar Prize Challenge. And they also want people to use the national research labs, right? So they want people to engage NREL. So when you know what the other person wants, and this goes all the way up to when I'm working with startups and we're trying to get investment rounds, knowing what the other person wants, what their mission is, it helps us hone the language. And when they're asking for this 2-page technical assistance request, that's really what they're saying, is like, hey, I want people to use these really amazing labs, and this is an incredible resource that, quite frankly, normal people don't have access to. It's usually for industry and for academia. So some person like me can't just walk in there and say, hey, I want you to test my product, but you can through this. So they're almost hinting at, this is what would make you successful if you use our labs and you access that part of the network. That's going to go into a lot into our decision, because it gets them a win. It's the same thing with the connector network. They've put in so much effort getting all of these different like maker spaces and manufacturers and innovation spaces, accelerators, incubators on board, that you know that that's what they want. And the people that have been successful, who have won the second stage, the 100K stage, or they've won the full thing, the 500K stage, they have utilized the connector network almost solely to build their business. They've really relied on those resources, and they've been able to demonstrate, hey, I couldn't have done it without this program. And the reason that, one, because they want to see that you can collaborate, because that's what makes successful businesses, is collaboration and partnership. But they want to get that win. They want to be able to take that back to the government and say, look, this program, people actually used the thing that we built and we were successful in the market. Look at these successful products and look at these successful businesses and look how they used this program that we made. So it wasn't a waste of money. And that's why they're on round 4 instead of round 1, right? Because it has been successful. Um, on more of the business development side of things, immediately go out and try to find a mentor, either through the connector network, through your local network. And this is very important, right? And Adam really touched on this, but in general, if you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to start, launch, grow a business, go get a mentor. Go find somebody that's a few years ahead of you. I like to say that somebody that is 0 ahead of you, right? They just have an order of magnitude larger business. They've gone through the growth that you're trying to go through. Not somebody that's so big that they're unrelatable, not a YouTube video of an Elon Musk interview, but like somebody that's actually built a business, and they're farther enough ahead of you to give you sound advice, and they can remember all the pains and struggles that you've been through. They're going to push you farther ahead than any book that you're going to read. And so fourth and final little tip is that the people that have won, they've gotten letters of intent from potential customers, and they've gotten letters of support from people in the industry saying, hey, if Fred moves forward, I've supported him in the past, and I've supported other startups in this area, and we have these resources, and we'll continue to support his venture. Like, hey, I love Adam's invention, and if it exists, we'd love to pilot it in the historic district or in this new housing development. Just get something out of there, because right now you probably don't have that product, but you can get a letter of intent. And even though that's not something that's solid, it's not like a purchase order, it shows that you went out and did your job, which is to go talk to people, build partnerships, and at least get somebody to want something enough to spend the time to write a letter and sign their name, which, it's like you do your homework, you get an A. So it's a big deal. And quite frankly, there's like a lot of fear that people have in going out and talking to customers, and from a business coach standpoint, I think that shows people kind of developing as leaders and as entrepreneurs. So kind of important. So that's my successful submissions guide. But I'm really big on using the resources that they provide and getting a mentor. That's gonna push everything else through that you can do. So let's switch into some Q&A. We've got a little bit of time here. So Isaac, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you, sir?
Very good.
Yeah. Hello, Fred and Adam.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, I have a question for Adam. Adam, since you are, you are still in the in the throes of it. Would you be willing to generous to be a mentor?
Possibly. I'd definitely be happy to answer questions and try to be helpful. Part of being in the throes of it is I'm working like 60 to 80 hours a week. So I don't have tons of available. But one great thing about these challenges is that they do provide mentors and introductions, often to people who are, retired, veteran industry folks who know up and down way more than I do,
Mhm.
about what's going on, and have tens of hours a week scheduled to do exactly that. Um, so yeah, I'd be happy to answer some questions. I don't know if I don't know if I could be a mentor of the caliber of mentors that have benefited me. I would love to do that someday. Um, but they're definitely out there.
Okay.
So Isaac, as an aside, um, it, like if you do submit, if you put Red Blue Collective down, we are an official connector for most of the challenges that I'm going to be talking about in the next coming weeks, including the American Made Network. So um, the the only like non-paid mentorship that I do right now is through these innovation challenges, just because I'm working with Department of Energy and a
Okay.
couple of these other organizations. So like uh, I've done quite a few clean tech startups now, but really I can help you do pitches. Like I've run incubators, pitch contests, pitch events, and I have pretty good experience getting people funding either on this level or through, like angel investing Series A. So like on the startup side of things, I'd love to be able to help you, and I can match make you through Department of Energy and the connector network for technical people. I can also help spearhead that, because I'm not even about to pretend that I'm a mechanical guy, not
Oh,
an
really?
electrical guy. Yeah, so
Okay.
I know a lot about manufacturing and mechanical engineering. So like,
Okay.
you know, I'm not a scientist or an EE by any stretch of the imagination, but there's lots of smart people in the network. So if you do submit, that's like one of the first things that I ask people to do is start. Uh, we message the organizers, try to connect you with the pieces of your team that you need so you can be successful.
There are some people who who know what they want,
Mhm.
but they don't know how to put what they want on paper. And that's the greatest challenge that I personally face.
Okay.
Um,
Well, that's something we can arrange a call, and I can show you some strategies that I run my coaching clients through that help them outline what they need for a team, and so that they can proactively build a team versus trying to do everything themselves.
mhm.
And I think that same kind of exercise that I run through will help you kind of build what your ask would be, right?
Okay.
So on the simple level, I always tell people to fire themselves. You just want to do the part of the business that only you can do, and you want to partner and team with other pieces. So we try to figure out what your
Strength.
your unique, yeah, beyond strengths even, is that like your unfair strengths, your uniqueness is, and say like, here's the things you have to do today, here's the things that you can do, and here's the things that you must do and that you're world class in. And like, so today we need these pieces, tomorrow we'll need these pieces, and in the future you'll need this. The organization should look like this, and you should just be doing the thing that you love. Because otherwise, like, why are we building a business if you're gonna, be struggling or dislike it,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll post here's this, and I schedule all my time using Calendly, and it'll send you a link, and you can either call in or we'll do a Zoom.
Okay.
So, yep.
Let me see.
Yep.
You sent it
It's
via.
in the chat.
No, I can't find it.
Here, I'll send it directly to you.
Can't find it. Oh,
Do you see it?
yes.
Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Does anybody else have any questions?
Virtual consult. Okay.
Oh, I see, Jade.
So, are you somewhere in Northern Virginia?
I am in Northern Virginia. Yes, I'm actually in a manufacturing facility right now in Sterling.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm in Fairfax. So.
Okay. Yeah. I live in Fairfax.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. I would definitely schedule something.
Okay, perfect. Appreciate it. And for anybody that's in the who's rewatching this on YouTube, one, I hope it didn't post my Calendly link for the whole
Oh.
universe to see, but probably it didn't. But
Well, you can delete it now. I
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I might. I'll go on YouTube and probably delete it. But going out to the rewatch people, feel free to DM me or message me on like LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram or something like that, and I can give you more detail and we can walk through what you're thinking of. And if this isn't, if the American Made challenges and Solar Prize Challenge isn't the thing that is really going to connect you with the resources and the funding that you need, we'll look and I'll find you something else.
Okay.
But I think that it's a great opportunity.
Okay. Monday.
Okay. Anyone else? Jay, do you want to say 2 words? I've got you.
Hey.
Hey.
I just want to say that I've known about this opportunity for a really long time for the innovation challenges, and I would have to say that of all the entrepreneurship stuff that I've ever done or ever seen, this is the highest rate of least amount of time and effort you have to put into getting the amount of funding that you get opened up to into doing this. And I've seen you, Callie, work with all these teams throughout the whole process, and it's been amazing to see where they've started at and where they've ended up at. And also, especially with anything physical products, like you've helped them get through the number one thing that kills any type of hardware startup, like right from the beginning, which is you help them navigate through the manufacturing process, which is priceless. Because if you have one thing wrong, the ripple effect from that could
Massive.
take you. Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking from personal experience, like I know the way that you think about things and the way that you've been able to help these entrepreneurs like build manufacturing into their design for clean energy, for all these Department of Energy solar projects. Like, I mean, you can't see the impact that you've made pretty much on the world yet, but it's awesome. So mad props to you.
I appreciate that. I'm hoping that they're really expanding the American made challenges. I think there's like 5 in the queue that are coming out, but there's like 17 of them that are live in some stage right now, whether they're from judging to like just launched. So I think this is being successful. I feel like we're having some kind of impact, and I mean from my little petty capitalist thing, I'm seeing businesses being created. I'm seeing clients and friends making getting money and building businesses. So I'm happy with it. But I think down the road, 5-10 years from now, we'll see massive impact. It's certainly a really great use of government capital, because you think like holistically, each round they give $3 million, and it goes directly to entrepreneurs. So
Yeah, and what's amazing is that the whole innovation network side of it, and since you've been part of the American Made Network since the beginning, I mean, you've seen it grow, you've helped it grow, but also you've been helping entrepreneurs navigate it when, you know, they have no clue who to reach out to, and like you're the number one person that they recommend, you know, right off the bat when they're ready to start manufacturing stuff. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. Well, they email me a lot, so I must be doing something right, because the people that are running the challenge seem to email me a lot, and it seems like people are they're enjoying you know their journey with it. So
Yeah,
uh,
well, because of the work that you did with the solar program, I know that it's scaled to geothermal, to water reclamation, to battery lithium ion recycling. Like, because of the success that you helped build, like in the beginning, like with the foundation, like it just sets the ripple effect of how other departments at NREL and Department of Energy are able to utilize it and like really make a difference in getting clean energy products out there.
yeah,
And
I I yeah, I mean I appreciate that. I hope that that's the case, but I really hope that other departments and other like bureaus take their lead and start doing the same thing, because I'm always harping that like you know, entrepreneurs are the people that change the world, right? They change the game, and corporations more have an interest to like increase their own game, not disrupt things and make things, you know, different or better. So by a little bit of money to Fred is like to get the equivalent thing out of a giant corporation, you'd have to add multiple zeros on the end of it, right? So I think it's great use of money. But oh, we have a question here from Daniel Tompkins. Appreciated your comment on niche development within the challenge. Have you come across any good templates or methods to share prize money in the sometimes nonlinear path to a win? You mean share prize money within your team, or to utilize the prize money? Because and I could have put this in one of the tips, is that we had somebody that I coached them to initially pitch, and then they didn't come back for any more advice, and they didn't want a mentor, and they ended up spending they spent the 50K on, not on product development and not on building their network, but on making a really fancy presentation. And then they were disappointed that they won. So one of the biggest pieces that when we've won that first bit of money, is to figure out what our budget allocation should be and what's going to be long-term successful. And that's going to be different at each stage, just like it's different at each stage of business development and launch. And yeah, I mean, I have a whole incubator program that I run people through, and it always depends on the idea. The framework is the same, but how the money gets spent is going to be based on your strengths and your idea, like in the market challenge. But in general, what I advise is, especially with that first 50K, is we need to size the product roadmap, and we need to figure out what the cost of developing that product is. And I don't want people to spend a lot of money on developing the product until they understand what the manufacturing costs and what their entire go-to-market costs could be. Because what we're going to get, and we see this a lot with software people, with physical products, it's expensive enough where somebody just burns out their money. But with software people create tech debt. They use their time and money to build a product that needs work down the road. So it's not only that they've built a product that people may or may not want, they build a product that if people do really want, somebody that has a higher order of skill or has a bigger vision will have to go in and actually redo everything. So definitely see this with like highly engineered physical products. Definitely see this in software, where instead of creating a product, what they're actually doing is creating tech debt. And like a smart investor later down the road says, wow, it's going to cost me like $3.5 million to remake to remake this idea. So what we want to do is we want to spend as little money as we can on things that are like out of a certain sequence. So we want to I know that this is like a difficult question to answer without getting into a one-on-one call, but every time that we spend money in a startup, we're spending money to answer a question, to prove or disprove a hypothesis. We're not spending money just to do something really, kind of cool. We want to say like, hey, I'm going to build this fidelity of a prototype because this will allow me to test this thing. And then I can have this conversation with like a manufacturer or another engineer. Adam, I saw that. Yeah, so if you'd like, Daniel, we can always hop on a one-on-one call and put put some pieces in place. But you're right, the pathway is nonlinear. It is more iterative, right? So we have a framework that is linear, but within that there is some checks and then of course some iteration in that, because nothing works out exactly as we want, but everything works out in the end if we actually take action and we're honest about things.
Carol, I was going to ask you, I'm trying to find out where, you could send me your email address so that, because I've already set up my meeting with you.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to send you some information so that you have an idea.
Okay.
So when we are talking, you all have an idea. So
okay.
I'm looking here. I can send.
I'm sending you an email right now.
To you.
Okay, I sent you an email.
Oh.
There you go. I can't give it out publicly.
Yeah.
But I responded to the Calendly notification.
Okay.
I clicked on your email and then I sent it to you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Joseph,
Okay,
I've got
good.
a question. Will you post a link to this? Yes, I will post a link. I'll also, just follow Red Blue Collective on Facebook, because I'm probably going to be bothering people about this as round 4 boots up, and we'll be doing some more information sessions and some coaching sessions on this stuff. It's just I want to do this early and often. One, because I think it's an amazing opportunity, but 2, people have a tendency to wait to the last minute and they say like, oh, Cal, you didn't tell me about it. So I figure if I mention it at least once a week, then in the month where it closes, let's see what it closes, 35 days. Yeah, so in a month when it closes, they won't be able to say I didn't tell them, but I will have enough time to help them actually submit. Okay. Yeah, so I posted the link in the chat, and Joseph, you can message me on Facebook if you need any more information. Cool. Well, it's 6 o'clock. I really appreciate everybody attending. I am putting out more content on YouTube that's very specific to the different aspects that we would go through, walking through. I already have content that's on, pitch tips and, what investors want and things like that. And I post that on Facebook and on YouTube pretty regularly. But we're going to be posting more content that's specific to innovation challenges, different types of innovation challenges, and really how to win at different stages. People want funding, and then always the next question is like, how do they get resources? Which I feel like this fills in really well. And then inevitably we have the perfect pitch question. How do you build a pitch? And we have a pretty locked in process for building a pitch deck that has some success in getting startups and entrepreneurs funding all the way through kind of more legit funding, angel, seed, Series A. And it's a little process of how to build not just a template, but like how you get the information to fill that template out, so you can answer questions, you can answer objectives, objections. You can answer your own objectives of hopefully creating a winning business. But we'll be posting more information about that just to support particularly Solar Prize Round 4. So if you have questions, you can always message me. I try to make myself very available to people that are in these challenges. But other than that, when you get a chance, check out the content that we're putting out. And if you do have a question, I'll probably end up turning it into a podcast or a short video, just so everyone gets the same answer, because I hear the same questions over and over and over again. But appreciate your time. Please go out, and if you think this is right for you, at least go sign up or follow one of the challenges. If you know somebody that would be interested in this, start a team with them, right? Or just tell them about it, because there's not really that many people that have signed up. There's only 278 people that are following this. So, I mean, I would guess that there's a 1 to 20 ratio of people that have actually applied, and your chances are very good. It's like what Fred was saying. Like, a lot of people, they don't actually apply. So from a statistical chance perspective, not from a quantitative, not a qualitative perspective, your chances are pretty good. So go to the link and please sign up, or tell a friend about it, and you can be their champion, right, when they win 50K. But I appreciate all your time. Have a great rest of the evening. I'm gonna go have dinner, and I don't know. Let's have fun. All right.